I don't think I was the child my mother wanted to keep. She was one of the rare few who survived the cruel lottery of life. She had given birth to triplets, a miracle that not only spared her life but also allowed her to keep one of her children. I don't know if she had a choice in the matter, if she was given the chance to pick which of us would live. Perhaps, in her exhaustion and delirium after the birth, she pointed to the wrong child by mistake. If that's the case, I can understand why she treated me so harshly. Can you imagine choosing a child, only to realize you're raising the wrong one? But I don't blame her. Not really. And I'm sure she doesn't blame me for leaving. My father certainly doesn't. He raised me as best he could, though his kindness only made her harshness sting more. Let me step back for a moment. My greatest hope is that this letter finds a better world. A healed world. A world that would not understand why a mother must sacrifice her own life to bring a child into existence. Perhaps this letter will find visitors from beyond the stars, and if that is the case, you must know what happened here. You must understand the weight of our choices, the depth of our despair, and the fragile thread of hope we clung to. When I was a child, first learning about the world, I was told that the sky died first. But when I joined the mages, I learned the truth. Started small, so small that for generations no one noticed. The beings most attuned to magic, dragons, fae, ember ants, and demons, began to retreat from their territories. They faded from memory, their once mighty presence reduced to whispers in the wind. At first, humanity celebrated. We saw ourselves rising, our magic growing stronger. We pushed back those who had tormented us for so long. But we never stopped to ask why our enemies were weakening, why our magic was growing so powerful, far beyond the limits nature had once imposed. We did this to ourselves. As it turned out, the fae, dragons, and demons did not hunt us because we were weak. They hunted us because we were too strong. In their visions of the future, they saw our rise and our fall. They saw the devastation we would bring not just to them but to the world itself. Fear drove them to act, and in their desperation, they created their own doom. I still don't fully understand why. Surely they must have known they were fulfilling the very prophecy they sought to avoid? Could they not have warned us? Perhaps they did. Perhaps it would have made no difference. Once our enemies were gone, the world became fully human. It was ours properly and completely. We should have stopped then. We should have realized the cost of our magic. But we didn't. Despite the meticulous records kept by the mages, despite the journals and scrolls and studies, no one is entirely sure why we continued. Greed? Pride? Or simply the inability to see the consequences of our actions until it was too late. We knew before the sky drained of color. We knew before the stars were snuffed out. We knew before the grass turned to dust and the animals starved. We should have limited ourselves. We should have reduced our use of magic. But we didn't. Humans are natural catalysts. The magic we wield is more powerful than anything any other being can create. But it comes at a cost. When a dragon breathes fire, it draws in the life force of the universe and exhales it as something new. The magic is returned, altered but still part of the fabric of existence. For them, using magic is like breathing. In and out, in and out. For humans, using magic is like eating. The spells we cast are more potent. The flames we throw burn brighter. But the magic is not returned. The life force is not returned. The fabric of the universe is not returned. We consume and we do not give back. And yet, despite being the very thing that doomed us, magic is the only resource we have left that can save us. When a human dies, their life force is released back into the universe, and that life force can be wielded as magic once more. Magic that can conjure food, fuel, light, water, blood, and well, you get the picture. Magic is life and life is magic. And as magic hangs by a thread, so too does life. The younger a human is when they die, the more magic they release. So yes, reader, we kill our children when they are born. We are the generation cast into this cold, unforgiving world. We have never seen the stars with our own eyes. We will never know the feeling of grass beneath our feet. We will never understand the blue that once made the sky so beautiful. Can you truly despise us for our sins, when it was our ancestors who cast us into this dark room, filled with nothing but the remnants of despair? I beg you to understand. This is done for hope. This is not done to live on in the rust-covered bones of a once-thriving world. Long ago, it was theorized that with enough additional magic, with enough life force, the universe might begin to heal itself. Humanity has been shrinking, quite intentionally so. We are lowering the burden on the universe, giving far more than we take. But there are so few of us now. Only 1,000 humans remain, and as for the mages, well, I am the last of my kind. I have spent my life recording our history, keeping bellies full, healing the sick, guiding the living, and yes, killing the young. Of course, I'll continue the story, expanding it with more details, emotional depth, and philosophical reflections. We'll pick up from where we left off in Part 3 and move into Part 4, focusing on the diary entry and the moral dilemmas faced by the characters. Let's begin. I need you to understand that this was not done recklessly. This was not done without doubt at every turn. Below, you will find an excerpt from my personal diary. It recounts a conversation I had long ago, one that has haunted me ever since. What if we never succeed? What if the sky remains gray and the trees stay blue? What if the hearts of mankind cannot endure and crumble into dust? What is this all for, if those we protect can't make it to the end anyway? I asked. I wasn't sure what I was expecting, or what I hoped to hear. For a moment, I thought she would respond like the elders in my village often did, with a dismissive, "Don't be silly, of course we'll make it," but she didn't. My master stopped walking and turned to face me. Her expression was uncharacteristically vulnerable, as if she were peeling back a layer of her soul she had long kept hidden. "Hand me your water bottle," she said instead. I complied, and she promptly poured half of its contents onto the hard, dusty ground beneath our feet. "Look at it, Orion," she said, her voice soft but firm. "See how the ground hungrily drinks it up. If we stayed here long enough, if we poured enough water here, we could create an ocean. The ground would never thirst again. But instead, it must adapt. It must make do with what little it has." As she spoke, I watched the ground, fascinated. Her lessons were usually direct and to the point, but this one was different. It was cryptic, almost poetic. And then, suddenly, a small shape burst from the ground. Sand flew into the air, and I stumbled back, letting out a yelp that was far from dignified. From beneath the hard, dusty surface, a frog emerged. It blinked up at us, its eyes wide with curiosity, before leaping away into the dust, quick as a startled cat. I turned to my master, my heart still racing, and she delivered the lesson. "They're called rock frogs," she said. "They can stay buried underground for thousands of years, waiting for the rain. Long ago, people used to wear them as good luck charms. But a rock frog can only transform from flesh to stone and back again once in its life. When it buries itself, it must trust that the rain will come. It must believe, with every fiber of its being, that it will one day wake again." She paused, and I could tell this was the only time she would give me this answer. Her voice grew quieter, almost a whisper. "I see a lot of ourselves in those frogs. We must believe, with every fiber of our being, that the sky will turn blue again. For how else could we possibly turn ourselves to stone?" The silence between us stretched on, heavy with unspoken doubts. I could see every fear I had ever felt reflected in her eyes, as if they were etched into her very soul. I didn't know what to say, so I asked the only question that came to mind. "If that rock frog was waiting for the rain to wake up, doesn't that mean it's doomed to die without it?" "Yes," she replied, tossing my half-empty water bottle back to me. "Unless someone decides to save it." She sat down gracefully, crossing her legs, and I stared at the tracks the frog had left in the dust. Took me 3 hours to catch that damn frog. To this day, I don't know if she was trying to encourage me, test me, or humiliate me. But I do know this. She was just as uncertain as I was, and she died just as guilty as I will. That moment has stayed with me, a constant reminder of the fragile balance between hope and despair. We are like those rock frogs, buried in the dust, waiting for a rain that may never come. But unlike the frogs, we have the power to choose. We can decide to save ourselves or to let the world crumble. And now, traveler, the choice falls to you. If you are reading this, then we may yet live. Or, if these words are never read again, then at least we died clinging to the foolish notion that kept us alive on this barren world for so long. If the theories hold true, and the universe begins to heal, then humans will one day roam this world once more. Or perhaps another race will rise on a distant planet and cross the void to find us. You, the one reading this. You, who are of the new world, who are the most innocent of all. You, whose sins are but a candle in the howling wind of our mistakes. You have a choice to make. I am not writing this letter out of a desire for personal redemption. No, I will die never once seeing the world as it was meant to be seen. If that is not punishment enough, then perhaps the afterlife will hold the torment I deserve. I am writing this letter because below this tower, beneath my tomb, you will find 1,000 bodies turned to stone. Like the frog in the story, submerge them in water, and they will revive. Or, if you shatter the bodies below, the descendants of those who nearly destroyed this reality will never live again. It is you who will decide the ultimate fate of us sorry few. Beneath this tower, beneath my tomb, you will find 1,000 bodies turned to stone. Like the frog in the story, if you submerge them in water, they will revive. But if you choose to shatter them, the descendants of those who nearly destroyed this reality will never live again. But let me tell you more about this tower. It is not just a structure of stone and dust. It is a testament to centuries of suffering and hope. This tower was built in the final days, when we realized we were on the brink of annihilation. It was our last attempt to record our history, to preserve our memories, and to leave a legacy for whoever or whatever might come after us. The tower stands tall, a solitary sentinel in a barren wasteland. Its walls are etched with runes and symbols, each one telling a piece of our story. The story of how we rose, how we fell, and how we clung to the faintest glimmer of hope even as the world crumbled around us. At its base lies the entrance to the catacombs, where the 1,000 stone bodies rest. They are not arranged haphazardly. Each one is placed with care, their faces turned upward as if in silent prayer. They are the last of us, frozen in time, waiting for a second chance. The choice before you is not an easy one. To revive them is to give humanity another chance, to allow us to rise from the ashes and try again. But it is also to risk repeating the mistakes of the past. We were the architects of our own destruction, after all. Our magic, our ambition, our inability to see the consequences of our actions. These were the chains that bound us to our fate. Can we be trusted with a second chance? Or will we simply pave the way for another apocalypse? On the other hand, to shatter the bodies is to end us forever. It is to admit that we are beyond redemption, that the world is better off without us. But it is also to erase everything we were, the good and the bad, the beautiful and the tragic. It is to condemn us to oblivion, to ensure that no one will ever know our story. I cannot make this choice for you. I am but a voice from the past, a ghost whispering through the pages of this letter. But I can tell you this, whatever you decide, do not do it lightly. Consider the weight of your decision, the lives it will affect, and the future it will shape. As the last of the mages, I have spent my life trying to understand the forces that brought us to this point. Magic was both our greatest gift and our greatest curse. It allowed us to achieve wonders, to bend the very fabric of reality to our will. But it also consumed us, draining the life force of the universe until there was almost nothing left. In the end, we realized that magic was not the problem, it was how we used it. We took without giving, consumed without replenishing. We saw ourselves as masters of the universe, but we were merely children playing with forces we did not fully understand. If you choose to revive us, know this, we are not the same as we once were. The survivors who remain are not the proud, arrogant beings who brought about the end. We are humbled, broken, and desperate for redemption. We have learned the cost of our mistakes, and we are willing to do whatever it takes to make amends. I do not know who you are, traveler. You may be a descendant of humanity, born into a world that has healed itself. Or you may be a visitor from beyond the stars, a stranger in a strange land. Whoever you are, I beg you to consider this: we are not monsters. We are not evil. We are simply flawed, as all living beings are. We made mistakes, yes, but we also loved, dreamed, and hoped for a better future. If you choose to revive us, we will not ask for forgiveness. We will not demand a place in your world. We will simply ask for a chance to prove that we can be better, that we can learn from our past and build a future worthy of the sacrifices that were made. But if you choose to shatter the bodies, know that we will not blame you. We will understand. We will accept our fate, as we have accepted everything else. We will fade into the dust, our story lost to time, and the universe will move on without us. Let me know if you'd like me to continue with part 10, where I can explore the traveler's decision and its aftermath. I can also delve deeper into the emotional and philosophical implications of their choice, as well as the potential consequences for the world. You stand at the entrance of the catacombs, the weight of the choice pressing down on you like the heavy air of this dying world. The tower looms above, its ancient stones whispering secrets of a time long past. Before you, the 1,000 stone bodies lie in silent repose, their faces frozen in expressions of hope, fear, and resignation. Each one is a life interrupted, a story cut short, a soul waiting for a second chance, or for eternal rest. The water you carry feels heavier than it should. It is not just water. It is life, magic, and the power to undo what has been done. Or it is nothing, if you choose to let it spill onto the barren ground, useless and forgotten. You think of the letter of the words written by the last mage. You hear their voice in your mind, pleading for understanding, for mercy, for a chance. You think of the rock frog, buried in the dust, waiting for rain that may never come. You think of the master's lesson. We must believe with every fiber of our being that the sky will turn blue again. But do you believe? If you choose to pour the water, the transformation is slow at first. The liquid seeps into the stone, spreading like veins through the bodies. Cracks begin to form, not the kind that shatter, but the kind that heal. The stone softens, shifts, and then life. A gasp, a shudder, a heartbeat. One by one, the bodies awaken, their eyes blinking in the dim light of the catacombs. They are weak, disoriented, and afraid, but they are alive. They look to you, their savior, with a mixture of gratitude and guilt. They know what they have done, what they have cost the world, and they know that this is their chance to make it right. The last mage's words echo in your mind. We are not the same as we once were, and you see it in their eyes, the humility, the resolve, the determination to rebuild what was broken. They do not ask for forgiveness. They only ask for a chance. If you choose to shatter the bodies, the sound is deafening. Stone cracks and crumbles, echoing through the catacombs like a final, mournful cry. The bodies disintegrate into dust, their forms lost forever. The air grows still, heavy with the weight of what you have done. You feel a pang of guilt, of sorrow, but also of relief. The cycle is broken. The mistakes of the past will not be repeated. The universe can heal, unburdened by the weight of humanity's sins. But as you turn to leave, you notice something. Among the dust, a single rock frog emerges, its tiny body trembling as it hops toward you. It looks up at you with wide, curious eyes, as if to ask, was this the right choice? If you revive them, the world begins to change. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, the sky lightens. The gray gives way to hints of blue, like the first rays of dawn after a long, dark night. The air grows fresher, the ground softer. Life, real life, begins to return. The survivors work tirelessly, not to reclaim their former glory, but to restore balance. They use their magic sparingly, giving back more than they take. They plant seeds in the barren soil, nurture the first green shoots, and watch as the world begins to heal. You stay with them for a time, helping where you can. But eventually, you know it is time to leave. They do not need you anymore. They have found their purpose, their redemption, and you have found yours. If you shattered the bodies, the world remains unchanged. The sky is still gray, the ground still barren, But there is a strange peace in the silence, a sense of finality. The universe breathes a sigh of relief, unburdened by the weight of humanity's mistakes. You leave the tower behind, the rock frog perched on your shoulder. It is a reminder of the choice you made, of the lives you saved or the lives you ended. As you walk away, you wonder if you made the right decision. But deep down, you know that there are no easy answers, no perfect choices. There is only the hope that, someday, the sky will turn blue again. Whoever you are, whatever you choose, know this: you are not alone. The last mage's words were not just a plea for humanity. They were a reminder that we are all connected, all part of the same fragile fabric of existence. Your choice, your actions matter. They shape the world, for better or for worse. And so, as you walk away from the tower, as you carry the weight of your decision, remember the rock frog. Remember the master's lesson. And remember that, no matter how dark the world may seem, there is always hope. The sky will turn blue again. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but someday, someday.